Officials say the damage has been substantial. We don't have full and complete counting of exactly the full damage from Irma. But Brian Yanis is now in downtown Miami, where, Brian, I guess the worst appears over, but it's not yet over.
It really is not. We're in a very precarious situation here in Brickell in downtown Miami. Take a look at this building. This is the Panorama. It's meant to be the largest building in Miami when it's done being constructed. This is going to be a residential building, and there have been glass panels falling off of this building since we've gotten here. We've seen at least 3 or 4 of those blue giant panels. Look at this right here. This is what it looks like. We saw this one come crashing down as people are starting to come out of their apartments and look up into the sky. This is why people say after the storm is usually a lot worse in terms of the chances of getting injured, because you find yourself coming out, looking at surveying the damage, and having 6-foot glass panels come crashing down to the ground. And if you take more look at the damage here in Brickell, this is a downed tree here, and we've got actual flooding down here. I'll just try to bring you guys as quickly as I can. I'm just still looking at the building, but this is Brickell Avenue, and this is what it looks like. It's just down trees, and down the road, you'll see big-time flooding there. I would say probably 4 or 5 inches of flooding. Right down the road over there, the JW Marriott, it's just nothing but water there. So we've got glass panels coming down from here, people coming out of their apartments, and you've got about 6 inches of water here for about 6 or 7 blocks at least. This is that storm surge they were talking about, and we're starting to see here. Brickell is a very popular neighborhood in downtown Miami. Lots of condos, lots of restaurants. Mary Brickell Village is to my right. The Dominican consulate is right here. It's a place where a lot of people want to live, and you're starting to see right now the type of flooding that was caused by the storm surge here in Miami. This is as bad as we've seen it, at least personally so far. And take a look, we've got down things here, and this is some of the debris we've seen actually come down from that building, and this is the water that we're seeing. The JW Marriott here in Brickell. This is the hotel. The water has come down a little bit from right after the storm based on previous reports, but it goes all the way out there on Brickell and about 12th Street, Brickell Avenue. And this goes all the way south past Vizcaya and Coconut Grove. And so it appears to be going down a little bit, but just really not a good situation to be in. I know that the storm, at least the bulk of it, has got past Miami, but we're still getting heavy gusts. The rain is still coming down, and it's really not advised for people to be coming out because of down power lines and because of what we just showed you from the Panorama building. I mean, there are construction sites all over Miami where things could potentially come down on you. So it's a dangerous situation post-storm, and we're not even fully out of it yet.
Yeah, you know, Brian, that was the danger and the worry over Hurricane Andrew back in 1992, that it would have a direct hit on downtown. Any indication about any injuries? Some people who live in those apartments may have sheltered in place. There was that evacuation order, but some folks just went into the stairways.
We got one man who's actually lives in the building across from the Panorama on the 42nd floor. One of those panels came crashing into his balcony, completely tearing it off. We'll have photos of that a little later. But that was the kind of situation these folks were dealing with when they were in their own condos. You know, this area, guy, I can go this way, this area was under a mandatory evacuation, and for good reason, because they fully expected a storm surge here. And the bottom line is that when you've got water, rescue crews can't get to you. And the last thing you want to do, let me just get this for Guy here, the last thing you want to do is you know, find yourself in a situation where you need help and people can't get to you. So from what we understand, people have lost power here. They're starting to come out. You've probably seen a half a dozen people.
And are those alarms that we hear, kind of burglar alarms?
Yes, those alarms, it looks like they're coming from that way. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I mean, you see the parking garage beeping. You know, Eric, just 20 feet down, I should say 200 feet down the road, we saw a parking garage that's completely flooded, inundated, and this is just, you know, this is the kind of flooding we're seeing. That's the JW Marriott Hotel. We've got the Colonnade Plaza. And again, I don't know how far this goes, but we had reports about 19th Street. So this is that's about 7 blocks at least on Brickell Avenue.
Hey, Brian, this is Art. You're from Miami. How does it feel being there, walking on that street with ankle-high water and just what you're seeing around you?
It's interesting because I just came back from Houston, and I didn't ride out the storm there, but I was there after the recovery, it just began to recover. It was amazing to see what was Houston, that kind of flooding. I haven't seen that sort of flooding here, but this reminds me of it. And having been down here, I haven't seen this kind of flooding, even with Hurricane Wilma. Remember, we hadn't been hit here in a very long time, and I was here in 2005. We got hit with Katrina and by Wilma, and that was the worst of it. And many of us here in South Florida had not experienced a big-time storm until now, since then. And I think in terms of the flooding, I don't remember it ever being this way after that storm. And I was in Boca Raton, just about an hour north from here. So it's a lot of storm surge, and this is what they were talking about, though, from the very beginning. It may not have been the 10-foot storm surge, but it's definitely enough to have gotten on the first floor and on the basement levels, at least, of some of these buildings here. It's pretty incredible to see this, guys.
Yeah. All right, Brian Yennis there in Miami. Thank you very much.